This is the Raspberry Pi 4 running Pop! OS, the ultimate Linux operating system designed for a single board computer. Now Pop! OS is going to take the Raspberry Pi to the next level in terms of desktop user experience. You can use Raspberry Pi 4 running Pop! OS for watching videos, browsing, editing documents, coding, and more. Hey guys, my name is KS Kiral. In this video, I'm going to talk about Pop! OS running on Raspberry Pi 4. At the end of this video, I will be showing you how to install Pop! OS on Raspberry Pi 4. So watch this video until the end without missing any parts. By the time of recording this video, Pop! OS 2110 for Raspberry Pi 4 or 400 is in beta, which means a few of the features are not working as intended. Now, apart from that, I got astounded by the level of performance of Pop! OS on Raspberry Pi 4. Now, this is my Raspberry Pi 4 running the Pop! OS from the external SSD. Now, I have overclocked my Raspberry Pi 4 to the maximum frequencies to take a full advantage of Pop! OS. Now, Pop! OS 2110 uses a GNOME desktop, which is easy to use for anyone. On the top right, you can find the system controls. From here, you can adjust the volume, toggle Wi-Fi, and Bluetooth. Now, along with that, you can use the power controls to turn off or reboot the Raspberry Pi. Also, you can see there is an option called a tiling windows. Now, in the middle of the status bar, you can see the clock and calendar menu. You can also use the do not disturb mode option to silence the notifications. Now, on the top left, you have two options, workspaces and applications. Now, tapping on the applications menu takes you to the app drawer where you get to see all of the installed applications. Now, workspaces in Pop! OS have been redesigned to be more flexible, and these are the vertical workspaces that look fantastic on a huge monitor. Now, at the bottom, you can see the brand new dock, which is highly customizable. Now, let me go to the settings, and as you can see, I am running the latest version of the Pop! OS. Now, using the desktop setting, you can customize the OS according to your taste. Now, under the appearance section, you can toggle between a light and dark themes. You can also tweak the dock according to your taste. For example, you can adjust the size of the dock, control the visibility, and more. There is an option called a workspaces. Now, using this setting, you can tune the workspace behavior. Now, this way, you can move the workspace controller to the left or right on your desktop screen with this option. Now, next up, let me go to the display setting. Now, as you can see, the fractional scaling is available, which helps in resizing the desktop screen according to your taste. Now, this could be extremely beneficial on huge monitors. And these are some of the new settings that you could use to customize the Pop! OS to look much better. Now, pressing the super key on your keyboard opens the launcher. Now, using this feature, you can quickly search for any application. Also, you can use the app drawer to see the installed applications. Now, by default, most of the useful applications have been installed on a Pop! OS, which is highly optimized for ARM architecture. Now, you can see there is a mail, contacts, weather, calendar, office suite, calculator, utilities, and more. Now, LibreOffice has been pre-installed. You can use this Office kit to edit the documents and more. Now, Firefox is the default browser you get to see in Pop! OS, which works super fine. I haven't faced any issues so far. Now, using this browser, you can stream the content from YouTube at 720p very smoothly without any lag. Now, the default Pop Shop offers to download hundreds of applications designed for ARM architecture, but as of now, the App Store doesn't seem to be working as intended. Now, this will be fixed in the stable release. Since Pop! OS is based on Ubuntu, you can use an apt manager, a command line utility, to install a bunch of packages. For example, you can install a GIMP using this command. Now, thanks to vertical workspaces in Pop! OS, which looks fair enough compared to horizontal workspaces on GNOME 40, workspaces refer to the grouping of windows on your desktop. You can create a multiple workspaces which act like a virtual desktops. They are meant to reduce the clutter and make the desktop easier to navigate. Now, as you can see, I have opened a few applications, and these are very high-end applications, and the Raspberry Pi 4 is handling everything like a boss. Now, I haven't noticed any lag or frame drops so far. So it's time to talk about the performance of Pop! OS running on Raspberry Pi 4. A big kudos to the Pop! OS team for optimizing the operating system. Now, launching applications is blazing fast and opens instantly. Thanks to the SSD, you can feel the whole OS seem to be more responsive than the SD card. Now, to see the full power of Pop! OS running on Raspberry Pi 4, I wrote a simple C program that prints a million numbers to the console. Now, this is going to stretch the Pi 4 to the maximum level. Now, as you can see, the temperature is hitting up to a 65 degrees even though I have a CPU cooler. And guess what? I haven't faced any lag or stutter, and I can still use the desktop and do multitasking. Now, usually with other distros, when you overclock Raspberry Pi 4, the system will crash and requires a reboot. Now, this is not the case with Pop! OS, which handles everything without any issues. Now, overall, I would say Pop! OS is an amazing Linux distro that you can use on your Raspberry Pi 4 for a simple workflow. Now, as I said, you can use to learn to code, watch videos, browsing, and more. Now, it's time to learn how to install Pop! OS on Raspberry Pi 4 or 400. Now, the things you need for this video: a 32 GB Class 10 micro SD or a 64 GB or higher SSD, which is recommended for installing the operating system. The high watt power supply is needed for overclocking, as well as you need a mini HDMI cable, keyboard, mouse, and monitor. Now, using your computer, go ahead, open your browser. The first link in the description will take you to this page. Now, using this page, you can download the Pop! OS for Raspberry Pi 4 or 400. Now, once it's done installing, save it on your computer. Now, next up, head over to this link and download the Balena Etcher and install it. Now, connect the SD card or SSD to the computer, then open Balena Etcher, import the downloaded Pop! OS image file, select your drive and burn this image. Now, this should take some time. Sit back and relax. Now once it's done, eject the USB device and reconnect back to the computer. Since Pop! OS supports overclocking the CPU, I'm going to edit the config file inside the boot folder by adding these lines to the bottom to run the Raspberry Pi 4 at higher clock speeds. Now keep in mind, overclocking is recommended if you have a CPU cooler installed on your Raspberry Pi 4, and also you need to provide a proper power supply to run the Pi 4. Now if you don't know what you're doing, you can skip this step. And that's it. Once it's done, save the changes. Now connect the SSD, HDMI cable, keyboard, mouse, and turn on the Raspberry Pi 4. Now after some time, you can see the welcome screen of Pop! OS. Now follow the on-screen instructions to finish the initial setup of Pop! OS. And that's it. This is how you can install Pop! OS on your Raspberry Pi 4 or 400. So what do you guys think about it? So let me know in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching this video. It's been KSKRL. I will see you in my next one. Bye bye.